When I first heard about the collaborative project, the library was the last thing on my mind. In fact, I had lots of ideas, some personal and some professional. I'd even started to contact companies already. But then Amanda and Ian came in and they gave that talk, and all of a sudden I was really intrigued and I really wanted to work alongside them. It seemed like the perfect avenue to explore my skills. So I sent them the best possible email I could in order to get the job.
Well, do you want to say?
The first thing was we were impressed with the. You showed us some previous work, and we were impressed with it. Without sort of naming any names, there were other candidates who didn't provide us with. We had to sort of squeeze the older work out of them. When we got it, it wasn't actually anything like what we were wanting. Or didn't impress us, but your work did, and so you sold yourself to us.
Yes, you got the picture right.
I was delighted to get the job and to be trusted with such a big project, but not for a second did I think making a film about the library was going to be easy. I pictured something snappy and lively, something that would resonate with first years and all students. The film has to be commanding and really arrest people's attentions as they walk past and see it on a screen.
Well, what I wanted, and I don't know whether Ian agrees with me, something that actually engaged for first years just arriving here, that hopefully they might find funny, or maybe not, but something that they would actually sit and watch, that could be viewed as either a whole film or segments, depending on how we want to use it in our particular sessions.
Definitely something that wasn't a librarianly or. It was something that people would engage with more readily than us just sort of coming, it's just the librarians again. And then once we've got that sort of in, and then we can be librarianly.
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say that this definitely isn't librarianly. I wanted to include satire, parody, and the unexpected in my film. I had to get people talking. And in order to live up to my collaboration, I had to do what Amanda and Ian asked of me, and that was to push boundaries and be inventive with the whole film. In the words of the great Bill Cosby, I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody. So I had to be brave. I started to look at relevant research of my target audience, and just sales videos. And of course, the terrible library videos.
I can get great movies, even new releases, at the library.
Using the library makes me a more interesting person.
The Green County Public Library. Discover, learn, and grow.
To learn what the library wanted, I attended library induction sessions for first year students, took all the leaflets and presentations currently available, and of course went through the process on a weekly basis with Amanda and Ian to learn exactly what they wanted.
Well, the fact that we've been having
Regular meetings, you've collaborated with other members from within the library, and there hasn't needed to be a great deal of sort of alteration of material, but when there have been things we've needed to discuss, you've been very responsive to what we wanted, but there hasn't actually had to be a great deal.
Yeah, I think what has impressed me, Don, I'm not making you blush, is the fact that you've always had, when I said, can we have a meeting, you've always had something to show us. Even if it's, the first couple of meetings what you intended to do, but it was all laid out very professionally, that instilled confidence in me, and I'm a very hard person to please.
And for the most part, that's how it worked. Whether it was rough ideas, queries, or even scripts, I would send them to Amanda and Ian. They would make any corrections, alterations, or they would tell me what they liked, and they would send it back. And that is how we came to the final decisions on what to include in the film. And as the process went on, I did this for graphics and everything down to font size, really.
Not just you've always had something to show us, you've had a sort of program of this is what I want to do, this is when I want to do it, and you have actually kept to your time, to your schedule as well.
Because I have to confess that was one of my chief worries about the collaboration process was that we wouldn't have, that we'd have to try and chase and say, look, where is the stuff? Have you got anything to show us?
Right,
and the fact that hasn't happened, as you know, has really instilled confidence in me that we did the right thing in, you know, going on this collaborative process. So much so that I'm collaborating with a student for a handout for the special collections.
The collaboration did run extremely smoothly, but the main problem I had was wanting to film in the library before it opened.
Yes, we had to do lots of thinking outside the box on that, tracking down who to ask and find out the procedures.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think there have been any major problems. No. I think the last couple of weeks the main problem has been trying to get us all together, the fact that you've seen one or other of us. So the fact that you've had to repeat things slightly for us, but I don't think there's any major.
I wouldn't. I mean, there's nothing really that's slowed it down.
Technically, I did have my own problems. Creating the 3D writing took a long time, and I went through a lot of fonts before I was finally happy with the final result. Similarly, the typography, well, that was the challenge, and it took me months to learn how to do and to get it right. But luckily, the library did cover my budget, and I bought some excellent programs as well. Lee and James got up at 6 o'clock and helped me film. Jonathan Smart came in early to let me in, and the management gave me permission, so I have to thank all of them. And in the bottom left is Garen Baker. He's a multimedia developer for the university. We met on various occasions and shared our ideas about the film. He was a great sounding board for my ideas before I finally went to a Mandarin with them. But the best thing possible about Garen is he's in charge of the streaming content for the university website, and he's extremely keen to put the films onto the university website, which is something I hadn't hoped for when I started the project. Originally, it was just going to be shown at the Freshers' Fair, and in the library itself. But now we're talking about showing it in the arts buildings, and on the big screen if we make a public video, and Ex Libris are also going to be contacted by a Mandarin. Overall, I am pleased with the project. I tested it on my target audiences throughout, and it always seemed to get a giggle. I've created something I'm passionate about, and I've learned a lot of new techniques from the project and have gained confidence that I can work in a professional environment. We collaborated very well, as I felt Ian and Amanda gave me the guidelines, information and resources, and in return I provided enthusiasm, relevant skills and imagination. And they seem to be pleased with the project.
Yeah, I'm very happy with what I've seen.
I think that's probably more than enough.
Oh,
I wasn't expecting anywhere near as good as that, so actually
Yes.
that didn't sound very nice.
Yeah.
Didn't mean it like that.